1 pound of bacon now costs about $6.71 on average, and in the Northeast it is closer to $7.50. And when it hits your pan, it might shrink to half its size and leave a white foam behind, while the identical-looking package from the same shelf lays flat and crisps like real bacon. You think the label can tell you why? Here's the part they are counting on. The single most trusted word in that whole case, the one you pay extra for, is a word the government requires them to print even when it is not true. So we ran a test. Bacon from 12 stores, Walmart, Costco, Target, and 9 more held to one standard. 3 questions, no exceptions. Most of them failed. We brought settlement checks, a cancer classification, and 1 Hong Kong ownership document to back every word. Let us open the bacon case. Before we rank a single store, here are the 3 questions we asked of every package, because they are the whole test. Question 1. Does the package say uncured, and if it does, is there an asterisk? Follow that asterisk and you will find the whole con. Question 2. Does it say dry cured, or does it quietly admit that water was added? That answer decides how much of your money is meat and how much is brine. Question 3. Does it tell you where the pork was raised and who actually made this bacon, or just a plant number and a logo? A package that answers all 3 has nothing to hide. A package that answers none has answered everything. Worst, number 9, and number 8, Dollar General and Family Dollar. You never fully trusted the bacon at the bottom of the price ladder. Good instinct. Now meet the machinery your gut was detecting. Almost no supermarket bacon is made the way you picture it. The old way, dry curing, means rubbing a pork belly with salt and sugar and letting it sit for weeks, while it loses moisture and gets denser. Nobody at this scale has weeks. So the belly goes through an injector, a machine with rows of needles that pump a brine of water and salt straight into the meat. 6 to 24 hours and it is bacon. Fast, cheap, and here is the beautiful part from a spreadsheet. That injected water weighs something, and you are buying it by the pound. When the heat hits, the brine comes back out. That is the white foam in your pan and the reason 4 strips became 2. That shrinkage is not your stove. It is a receipt for water you already paid for. Run the 3 questions on the house brand in this tier, and you get nothing back. 0 for 3. To be fair, the bacon is federally inspected and the price is real, and nobody walks into a dollar store expecting a smokehouse out back. This tier fails on emptiness, not deception. The next store had far more trust to spend and spent it. Worst, number 7, Target. You trust Target with your kids' clothes, your prescriptions, half of December. That trust took decades to build, which is exactly why it is worth so much when it gets borrowed and spent 1 aisle over. Target's grocery section was bolted onto a general store, and the bacon case proves it. No butcher, no meat cutter anywhere in the chain. A thin private label selection, packed by a supplier the front of the package will not name, sitting under beautiful lighting at a price that rarely beats a real grocery store. Run the 3 questions on that store brand pack. The uncured line comes with the asterisk. The water question goes unanswered. The maker stays anonymous. You are buying bacon from a company whose actual expertise is moving boxes, and the bacon is treated accordingly as a box. In fairness, the cold chain is run like the logistics operation it is. It is a beautifully organized way to sell you a mystery. The next store sells the mystery and the answer on the same shelf and charges you for the difference. Worst, number 6, Kroger. For millions of American families, Kroger is not a grocery store. It is simply the store, which makes this next part sting. Kroger sells you bacon on 2 completely different terms 4 feet apart. Reach for the organic line and the label finally talks. Reach for the everyday store brand, the one most carts actually carry, and the talking stops. Injected, no origin, no maker. Same red sign, 2 honesty levels, and the cheaper pack is the quiet one. Here's the trap, though. That greener package is not the escape hatch you think it is. It says uncured. It says no nitrates or nitrites added. And then, in print roughly half the size, it says except for those naturally occurring in celery powder. Hold on to that sentence. It is the reason this entire video exists, and we will detonate it in a few minutes. To be fair, Kroger does put the clean-looking option on the shelf clearly marked. For anyone who reads, it just prices the halo as an upgrade. Speaking of things sold at a premium, the next store hired an actor for the part. Worst, number 5, Safeway. Watch the butcher at the Safeway counter for a minute. Real knife skills, real custom cuts, and honestly, he deserves the marketing. Now look down at the package of store-brand bacon in your hand. That man has never touched it. It cannot have been made in that building. Bacon is a cured smoked product that comes from a plant days or weeks ago, possibly in another state, and it gets stocked beside his counter the way a prop borrows credibility from a movie set. The counter makes the promise. The package quietly breaks it. And here is the twist that makes this one sting. In the pork price fixing litigation we are about to get into, dozens of supermarket chains and restaurant groups filed their own claims against the packers, arguing they had been overcharged for years. Sit with the shape of that. Your grocery store went to federal court saying it paid too much for pork while the shelf price in front of you kept climbing. Somebody got made whole in that story, and it was not the person holding the package. To be clear, the skill behind that counter is real, and the pork is inspected. The costume only fools the people who never ask what is behind it. The next store leaves the box sealed so tight, even a straight answer cannot get in. Worst, number 4, Aldi. Here is the strange part. The bacon at Aldi is genuinely fine. It cooks well, it costs less than almost anyone, and the value is completely real. And that is exactly what makes this one unsettling. Because Aldi is a sealed box. The bacon wears a house brand you will find nowhere else. There is no meat counter to ask, no published suppliers, and the label stays vague enough to survive every regional change in sourcing. Ask Aldi who made this bacon, and the honest answer is, it depends, and they would rather not say. When your Aldi bacon lays flat and crisps, you got lucky. When it shrinks to nothing, you will never learn why, because the box does not open. To be clear, cheap and low quality are not the same thing, and Aldi proves that weekly. But a store where this many families now buy their bacon owes them more than a shrug. The next store built an entire personality out of not telling you. Worst, number 3, Trader Joe's. Walk in and everything feels handpicked, small batch, like a friend with great taste stocked the shelves for you. That feeling is the product. Nearly everything is private label. The Trader Joe's name stamped over goods made by outside manufacturers the company famously refuses to name. The bacon is no exception. Ask who cured it, and you get the same warm shrug the whole store runs on. The uncured packages carry the same asterisk as everyone else's. The maker stays a secret by design. It is not that the bacon is bad, it is that the entire model is built to make you stop asking the one question that matters. The next store is beloved and lands here for the most ordinary reason on this list. Worst, number 2, Meijer. A full supercenter, a Midwest institution, fresh meat cut daily, the kind of store people are genuinely loyal to. And the bacon case tells the same split story. A conventional house brand doing the volume, an uncured line for anyone who hunts for it, and not one package willing to tell you whether water was pumped in or where the pig lived. 0 for 3 on the everyday pack, the same score as the dollar store from a company with 50 times the reputation. To be fair, the prices are honest and the option is on the shelf. Meijer is not hiding a scandal. It is running the industry playbook. Before we get to the store at number 1, stop. Because the next 3 minutes are the reason this whole test exists. The receipts. If our weekly investigations keep your family from paying nearly $7 a pound for salt water, hit subscribe right now because what comes next, nobody prints on a label. Start with the asterisk because it is the biggest legal fiction in your refrigerator. The Department of Agriculture only recognizes synthetic sodium nitrite as an official curing agent. So when a company cures bacon with celery powder instead, the rules say that bacon does not legally count as cured, and the company is required to label it uncured and to state that no nitrates or nitrites were added. Here is what celery powder actually is. It is a concentrated vegetable extract fermented with bacteria, specifically to convert its nitrate into nitrite, then pumped into the pork to do the exact same job. The nitrite is chemically identical. Your body cannot tell the difference. Nobody in food science claims otherwise. Now, the part that should genuinely make you angry. Synthetic nitrite is capped by law at 120 parts per million in wet-cured bacon. Celery powder has no limit at all because the agency does not classify it as a curing agent, which means the package marketed as the clean one can legally carry more of the compound you're avoiding than the conventional package next to it. In 2019, Consumer Reports and the Center for Science and the Public Interest petitioned the government to end this, calling the labels actively misleading. In late 2020, the agency said it would consider new definitions. Years later, walk any bacon case in America and the asterisk is still there. Next receipt, the names. Tyson, Smithfield, Hormel, JBS, and a handful of others move most of the pork in this country, and a lawsuit accused them of quietly coordinating through a data service called AgriStats to hold supply down and prices up. Did they do it? Every one of them says no, and no court has ruled they broke the law. But here is what we know for certain. They have written settlement checks. Tyson, $85 million, the largest, plus another $48 million to commercial buyers. Smithfield, $75 million. JBS, $20 million. Clemens, Seaboard, and Hormel, smaller. Stacked together, more than $200 million for consumers from companies that insist nothing happened. Funny how that works. Next receipt, the landlord. Smithfield is the largest pork processor in the United States, and it has been owned since 2013 by WH Group, a Hong Kong-listed conglomerate that bought it for about $4.7 billion in what was then the biggest Chinese acquisition of an American company ever. Smithfield relisted on the NASDAQ in January of 2025, and WH Group still holds roughly 90% of it. The single biggest pork operation in America answers to a board in Hong Kong, and its own filing acknowledges paying about $194 million to settle antitrust claims. Last receipt, and it is the one nobody wants at breakfast. In 2015, the World Health Organization's Cancer Agency reviewed more than 800 studies and classified processed meat, which explicitly includes bacon as carcinogenic to humans. Group 1. Their analysis found that every 50-gram portion eaten daily, roughly 2 ounces, was associated with an 18% higher relative risk of colorectal cancer. Now, keep your head. 18% higher relative risk on a small baseline is not the same as an 18% chance, and it describes eating that much every single day for a lifetime. Bacon is not a cigarette. But it is worth knowing that the compound at the center of that finding is the exact compound the celery powder asterisk was invented to help you forget about. Which brings us to number 1, the biggest seller of them all. Worst, number 1, Walmart. Here is the twist that puts this store on top of the pile. Walmart already sells the answer. Walk the case and you will find the organic and uncured lines priced to move, proving the biggest retailer on the planet can absolutely source a cleaner supply and label it when it decides to. Now walk 10 feet to the everyday store brand pack, the volume seller, the one in tens of millions of American refrigerators, injected, anonymous maker, no origin. And understand the scale here. Private label bacon now outsells the biggest national brand in the country. That means the plain store brand package is not a sideshow, it is the main event. And it is the one telling you the least. So the company that can put a disclosed package on the shelf points that transparency at the premium buyer and leaves the volume pack on the same anonymous pipeline because transparency is being sold as a feature. The clean-looking package is the advertisement. The mystery pack is the business. Premium customers get provenance. Everyone else gets a shrug and shrink wrap. To be fair, that cleaner line is real and genuinely affordable, and Walmart deserves the credit it keeps giving itself. But a company that can disclose one package has run out of excuses for the one your kids actually eat. They did not fail our test. They aced it for the customers willing to pay extra. That gap is why Walmart sits at number 1. So that is the machine. Now let us arm you against it. Run the 3 questions on the package in your fridge tonight. Question 1. Does it say uncured, and is there an asterisk? Follow it. If it names celery powder, celery juice, or cultured celery extract, you are eating nitrite. And you may be eating more of it than the conventional pack because that source has no legal sealing. That does not make it poison. It makes the marketing a lie. Question 2. Does it say dry cured? Those 2 words are the only real promise in the case. Dry cured bacon was salted, not injected, so you are buying meat instead of brine, and it shrinks far less. If the package does not say it, assume the needles. Question 3. Does it name who made it and where the pork was raised? A company willing to print that has paperwork. Then run the shrink test and be honest about the science. Weigh the same amount from 2 different packages, cook them the same way in the same pan, and weigh what is left. Some loss is completely normal because fat renders and moisture cooks off, and a fattier bacon gives up more without anything being wrong. The tell is the gap between packages. When one lays flat and the other collapses into foam, that gap is the injector's fingerprint, and you paid for it by the pound. Finally, the fix, and this one is worth more than any ranking. There is real research on how nitrosamines, the compounds behind the cancer concern, actually form. They did not form in bacon cooked at 210 degrees for up to 15 minutes or at 275 degrees for up to half an hour. They showed up when it was fried hot and fast at 350 degrees and above, and worst of all, when it was burned. So here is the move. Cook it low and slow. Start it in a cold pan, let the fat render gently, and pull it before any strip goes black. Low heat, patience, nothing burnt. That works on every store in this test, cured or uncured, because the temperature mattered more than the label ever did. Here is the ladder at the case, top to bottom. Best, dry cured with a named farm. Next, dry cured. Next, a company that tells you who made it and where. Last resort, the anonymous injected pack with an asterisk it hopes you never follow. Time for the good news. Best, number 3, Publix. Publix earns this the old-fashioned way. There's a real meat department in the building doing real work, staffed by people who can answer a question if you ask one, which is more than most of this list can offer. The organic line is easy to find and clearly marked, and the selection gives you an actual choice rather than a shrug. One honest caution before you get misty. No grocery store cures its own bacon in the back. Every package here came from a plant, same as everywhere else, and the uncured options carry the identical celery asterisk. The counter cannot save you from the loophole. But judged on what its own shelves make easy to read, Publix runs one of the more honest bacon cases on this list. The next store has the strictest rules in American grocery, and that is exactly the problem. Best, number 2, Whole Foods. Here's a sentence you can say about almost no other chain. Whole Foods bans more than 300 ingredients from its shelves outright, synthetic sodium nitrite among them, and it enforces that across the whole store, which produces the strangest bacon case in America. Scan it, and package after package says uncured, no nitrates or nitrites added. Every single one. And now you know exactly what that means. A store rule that forbids synthetic nitrite does not forbid nitrite. It forbids the regulated version and mandates the unregulated one. The chain with the strictest standard in the country sells you the loophole almost exclusively and charges a premium for the halo. To be fair, and this matters, the animal welfare standards behind that meat department are real. The sourcing is more traceable than nearly anyone's, and if you want pork raised well, this is a genuinely good place to buy it. But the cleanest looking bacon case in America is also the most complete demonstration that the word uncured means nothing at all. That, plus a price that runs double and a store map that skips half the country, is your silver medal. A gold standard you cannot reach on a normal Tuesday does not feed a family, which leaves number 1. Best, number 1, Costco. The warehouse takes the crown, and it earns it on the 2 things a busy family actually needs. Costco's house brand leans hard into naming its suppliers rather than hiding them. The bacon, comes in bulk packs at a per-pound price most grocery stores cannot touch, and the return policy will hand your money back if a package disappoints. No lecture, no receipt drama. Portion it into freezer bags the day you buy it, and you have cut your bacon bill for a month. Bulk pricing is not a gimmick here. It is the mechanism that makes the better package the affordable package, which is the entire game. Now the caution, because number one does not mean spotless. Not every pack on that floor is dry cured, and plenty of it is injected like everyone else's, so read before the register does. On sourcing purity, Whole Foods wins, and we will say it plainly. But on price, honesty about who made the thing, and the ability of a normal family to actually shop there every week, the warehouse takes it. Fight it out in the comments. We will be reading. The pork industry spent decades teaching the label to say the opposite of what it means. A word that legally must appear on a package that was, in every way that matters, cured. And now you hold the test that sorts it out. 3 questions. Any package, any store, any town. Follow the asterisk. Look for dry cured. Ask who made it. A ranking goes stale the week a store changes suppliers. A test you can run yourself never does. If this changed how you will read the bacon case, hit the like button. It pushes this investigation to families still paying a premium for the word uncured. Subscribe and turn on notifications because we put the food your family eats on trial every single week, and drop one answer in the comments. Which word fooled you the longest? Uncured, natural, farm fresh, or hickory smoked? Share this with the person who buys the uncured pack every week because they thought it was the safe one. Next week, another aisle where the label learned to lie in a completely different language. Bring your receipt. The bacon case cannot fool you anymore.